Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be updating all my Clash tier lists for 13.9, so let's get into it. This was a very small patch, so there's not a huge amount of changes, but I wanted to adjust a couple things on the top list because I feel like there are some things slightly misplaced as the meta has kind of shifted. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove Alistar again. He's being buffed and then people play him in the top lane, and then when he doesn't perform as well as people want him to, he tends to get played a lot less, and he's in this situation where no one's really playing him again, so I'm just going to remove him. Trundle, I'm actually going to move up into the C tier. He's pretty good into AD tanks and just tanks or AD threats. He does quite well into things like the Olaf, but there are still a lot of champs within the current top lane meta which just outperform him and have higher value, so even though Trundle is a lot better, I still would put him in the C tier. He's still on the weaker side. If he was slightly better, then B, A tier could be good for him. Volibear, I'm going to move up to the B tier. He's performing a lot better after his buffs in the top lane. Make sure you're going Iceborne. Iceborne is a lot better than Nash's, which is like the AP variant. The AP variant tends to be a lot more solo queue, not even solo queue. It's a lot more just brute force, just gonna kind of cheese your way through the game. I will recommend going the Iceborne. The tanky playstyle just suits Volibear a lot more. And if you want to go like an AP threat, then you can kind of get some AP in his build, but for the most part, go the Iceborne. Aatrox is going to move up to the B tier. Aatrox has once again just been receiving another fairly minor set of buffs, but as Aatrox has received a couple of these now, make sure you're rushing Ravenous, and then you kind of pivot into what are like a certain itemization, things like the Eclipse, the Iceborne, the Triforce even. Like, that is the way you want to build him. Make sure you are Ravenous rushing though. He tends to perform a lot more better if you do that, as it gives you a lot more flex variance on the mythic side of things. Kayle, I'm going to move up into the A tier. Her win rate's actually dropped, but as it's mostly because people aren't used to the ult and being able to attack during ult, I'm going to put it down to that. So I'm going to move Kayle up into the A tier. Doing quite well after the buffs, but yeah, make sure you're Q-maxing. The E has less incentive on it now after it got pushed towards level scaling, so Q-max is the way to go. Still the Nash's Riftmaker build. You can go AD if you do need AD within your comp, but yeah, Nash's Riftmaker. Sion, going to move down to the A tier. The nerfs actually did do a bit to hurt Sion. Overall, just lowers his ability to have as much kill threat in passive, and just a little less passive duration means he's not as tanky during it, so bit of a nerf to Sion. Of course, if you're not dying, then the Sion nerfs do literally nothing to you, but as you're most likely going to die as Sion, it is a slight nerf. Pantheon, going to move up into the S tier. Pantheon, for some reason, was in my B tier. I value him highly as a flex at the moment. He does a lot of damage. He doesn't scale that badly either at the moment. Can be put in the jungle, can be put in the mid lane. Just works overall really well. Wins a lot of the top lane matchups as well at the moment. So, Pantheon, really good champ at the moment. Ornn is going to be in the Z tier. The bug fix to his CC combined with just the overall meta shifts means that Ornn is really good. You do have to ban Fiora if you are playing Ornn. Ornn still loses the Fiora matchup really hard. Gwen is a problematic matchup, so it's Maud. So just be wary that he does have some bad matchups, but as long as you're banning Fiora, you can kind of resist a lot of them and go even or just ahead in a lot of lanes. Garen is going to move up into the A tier. The buffs did do a nice amount to push Garen's win rate. Overall, fairly simplistic champion, has a lot of value, is a freeway flex technically, doing a lot better. Akshan going to move up into the A tier as well. Akshan just performing quite well across mid and top lane. The meta has shifted in a way which has definitely favoured him. Quinn going to move up into the B tier. I usually keep Quinn fairly low on the Clash tier list because she's a very solo queue heavy champion, but because she's performing really well at the moment, I'm going to push up to the B tier. So that's what it's all about. Karma going to move down to the B tier. Just not performing as well as she used to, but now it's towards Radiant, increasing its time before you can activate it again. Definitely heart Karma. Tristana going to move down to the B tier. Just not performing particularly well in the top lane. Consistently doesn't perform particularly well in the top lane, even though the ideology behind it stays relatively similar to mid lane. Just for longer lanes, some of the threats within the top lane, she doesn't do particularly well into. Ryze is going to move down to the C tier. Not performing particularly well at the moment. Nastra have hurt him a bit. The pushback on the overall buy of Catalyst to 1,300, same as Chapter, just hurt him. So we're gonna put him down to the C tier. Redacted, just gonna go down to my D tier. Redacted is just not performing very well at the moment. Even with his best builds, he's only just hitting 50% win rate, and you really don't want that to be the case with an early game Su champion. So Sejuani is going to move down to the D tier, just not performing well in the top lane. The nerfs towards her jungle just hurt her top a significant amount as well. Itemization's fairly weak in the top lane. So overall, just going to move her down to the D tier. Skarner is going to be added to the D tier, and she has a significant play rate in the top lane, so that's kind of the idea behind it, but still not performing particularly well. For the most part, I'm actually going to move all the remaining D tier champs up into the C tier. They aren't performing as bad as the champs which I've just put down here, but some of them are more niche, some of them have situations, but for the most part, they're all relatively good. So we're going to move them up and adjust the tier list as that. So yeah, that's my top lane tier list. Moving on to the jungle. Bel'Veth is going to move up into the S tier. They buffed her this patch, which is really weird considering she was already a really strong solo queue jungler. Increasing her clear speed just makes her even more powerful. And we're going to move up into the S tier as well. The buffs really helped him overall having a lot more access to power in the W earlier on into the game, when that's going to technically be a buff until level 15, I think it is, when you're getting points in your W as your last max ability. Yeah, they're just doing a lot better with the changes. Maokai going to move up into the A tier. Now that people have varied his itemization, Maokai is performing a lot better in the jungle, so just going to move up into the A tier. Trundle also going to move up into the A tier. The buffs really helped him in the jungle. Of course, attack speed really helps the stat 6 champion, so you're going to move up into the A tier. Lee Sin going to move down to the C tier. There's a current bug with him, but it has been fixed. But even then, Lee Sin has been performing a lot worse after his stuff, so I'm going to move him down to the C tier. And Nico starting to be played a lot in the jungle. Gonna temporarily put her in the D tier. Overall, her clear's not bad, but it's a learning curve, and a lot of people need to put more time into her before playing her this weekend, so I'm temporarily going to put her in the D tier. Honestly, she could even be F tier, but yeah, you got to learn the champion a lot before playing it. You have to be able to clear well on it. You have to be able to maximize your passive and just the way your kit functions to really get value out of this pick. So that's all for jungle. Mid lane, a couple of changes here. Ari is going to move up into the A tier, a relatively safe and powerful pick at the moment. ASO is also going to move back up to the A tier. Still performing relatively well. Of course, got to be stronger in low elo, where you can get access to his scaling a lot more frequently. Riven, I'm going to add to the A tier. Riven is just a really powerful pick into a lot of the champs currently within the meta. Vladimir going to move up into the A tier. The Cosmic Drive changes really helped him. Corki going to move down to the D tier. Performing really badly at the moment. Just not doing too well in the current meta. Itemization's fairly poor for him as well. Kassadin almost going to move down to the D tier. Kassadin's really bad at the moment. He's really struggling after a bunch of nerfs towards Roa, his overall kit, and just systems around him. So that's the mid lane. Going down to the ADC role. One change here, and that is Zeri is going to move up into the A tier. The Jinx nerfs, as expected, didn't really do much to move her. But Zeri still performing relatively well, so we're going to move her back up into the A tier. Honestly, Caitlyn can drop down to the C. Just performing really badly at the moment, so I'm going to move that. And for support tier list, Milio is the only movement here. Going to put him in the S tier. I had him in the B tier because he was new when I first did it, and he's performing really well. Has strong pairings within the meta, works really well with like Lucian, with Jinx, champions like this, performs really well with. So overall, not a lot of changes, but that was expected. The meta hasn't really changed. We're really waiting on 13.10 to get big changes. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.